Imagine a world where Netflix can't stream, your bank app won't load, and websites just vanish. That's the world we'd live in if Amazon Web Services suddenly disappeared. But how did an online bookstore end up becoming the invisible powerhouse that literally runs the internet? This is the untold story of how Amazon quietly built the digital foundation of the modern world. Chapter 1. Humble Beginnings. Back in the late 1990s, Amazon was just an ambitious online bookstore trying to expand. Jeff Bezos had a vision, not just to sell books, but to become the everything store. But there was a problem. Every time Amazon wanted to build a new feature, like a shopping cart, recommendation engine, or user login, it had to reinvent the wheel. Developers were wasting months on infrastructure basics instead of building actual products. Bezos saw the inefficiency, and in classic Bezos fashion, he asked a radical question. What if we could turn this internal problem into an external product? What if Amazon could build infrastructure as a service? Chapter 2. The Birth of AWS. In the early 2000s, a small team inside Amazon began quietly working on a side project. Their goal? To create a set of tools that would allow anyone, developers, startups, even enterprises, to rent computing power over the internet. No data centers, no hardware, just pay for what you use. In 2006, Amazon launched Amazon Web Services, starting with just 3 services: S3 for storage, EC2 for computing, and SQS for messaging. To the average user, it sounded like tech jargon. To developers, it was magic. For the first time, anyone with an idea and a laptop could build like a Silicon Valley giant. No need for massive investment, no servers to buy, just launch, scale, and go. Chapter 3. The Silent Explosion. While the world was still focused on retail, AWS was growing like wildfire, quietly. Startups like Dropbox, Airbnb, and Instagram built their entire businesses on AWS. Even Netflix, a competitor to Amazon Prime Video, moved its operations to AWS. Why? Because AWS had something nobody else offered: unmatched scalability, reliability, and speed. By 2010, Amazon wasn't just a retailer anymore. It had become a cloud computing juggernaut, without most people realizing it. Chapter 4. A New Business Model. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Amazon's core retail business operated on razor-thin margins. But AWS? It was a cash machine. AWS operated at margins of over 25%, sometimes even higher. In fact, by the mid-2010s, AWS was responsible for the majority of Amazon's operating profit, despite being a small fraction of total revenue. Investors loved it, competitors scrambled to catch up, and Amazon had quietly pulled off one of the biggest pivots in corporate history. Chapter 5. The Internet's Infrastructure. By 2020, AWS had become so deeply embedded in the digital economy that people began calling it the backbone of the internet. Here's a mind-blowing stat. Over 30% of the internet's traffic runs through AWS data centers. From small startups to Fortune 500 giants, everyone's using it. NASA uses AWS. The CIA uses AWS. Even competitors like Apple and Facebook run services on AWS. And in moments of crisis, like when COVID-19 hit, AWS scaled up almost overnight to support hospitals, remote work, and virtual classrooms. Chapter 6. Not without controversy. But being the backbone of the internet isn't without its problems. Over the years, AWS has faced criticism for outages that took down massive portions of the web. One AWS zone going down can crash dozens of popular apps. It's also been questioned for hosting controversial clients, including surveillance firms and governments. And let's not forget the competition. Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and others have poured billions trying to unseat AWS. But despite their efforts, AWS still leads the global cloud market by a comfortable margin. Chapter 7. The Secret Sauce. So, how did AWS do it? Why did Amazon succeed where others failed? Two reasons. First, relentless focus on developers. AWS was built for engineers, not just executives. They made tools that worked, scaled, and just didn't break. Second, Amazon's two-pizza team culture. Small, autonomous teams that could build and ship fast. AWS was structured like a startup inside a giant, and that allowed it to innovate at lightning speed. Chapter 8. The Future of AWS. Today, AWS is more than just cloud storage and computing. It powers AI, machine learning, quantum computing, blockchain, even space tech. It's not just the backend for websites, it's the launchpad for the next generation of innovation. And as we move into an AI-driven world, AWS is positioning itself as the go-to infrastructure for companies training large language models, building autonomous systems, and more. Jeff Bezos once said, "Your margin is my opportunity." But AWS flipped that. Its margins became Amazon's superpower. So the next time you binge watch a series, book a cab, or check your bank balance, remember, there's a good chance it all ran through AWS. What started as an internal fix for a growing company has become the invisible engine of the modern digital world. And this is just one chapter in the story of tech that shapes our lives. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe to Techno Tales. This is where tech legends come to life.